So, you're thinking about bringing on an AI partner. It's a huge decision, and let's be honest, figuring out if they're actually secure can feel pretty overwhelming. We're going to build a smarter framework for checking out AI vendors, one that cuts right through the noise and gets to what really, truly matters.
Look, we're not just talking about some other piece of software here. When you integrate AI, you're giving that vendor deep, deep access into the very heart of your business. I mean, it touches everything. The stakes are incredibly high, which means your security review has got to be absolutely airtight.
So, how do you even begin to do a thorough review without getting completely lost in a gigantic security checklist? Well, the key is to simplify. Instead of getting bogged down in hundreds of tiny details, we can build a really powerful review around just 3 fundamental questions. All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with those 3 core questions. Then we'll walk through how to establish some foundational trust, how to map out your data flows, deal with those unique AI-specific risks, and finally, we'll cover the most critical step of all, validating every single claim they make.
Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, the 3 core risk questions. Think of this as the why behind your entire review. These questions really define the absolute core risks you need to wrap your head around before you even think about signing a contract with an AI vendor.
So here's what it all boils down to. First, you've got to follow the data. Where is it going? Where is it stored? And who exactly can get their hands on it? That includes any other companies the vendor works with. Second, what can the system actually do? Can it make changes in your other systems? And what guardrails are in place to stop it from going rogue? And third, it's all about accountability. If something goes wrong, is there a solid, unbreakable audit trail so you can prove exactly what happened?
That brings us to our second section, establishing foundational trust. Now that we have our core questions, the very first step is to get a baseline on the vendor. And let me be clear, this is not about taking their word for it. It's about demanding objective, third-party proof.
So this is the big question you need to ask right out of the gate. Before you even get into the nitty-gritty of their AI, you have to ask, do they have standard, recognized certifications that prove they have a mature security program? If they can't provide these, that is a major red flag.
And look, don't just ask them, are you secure? That's not enough. You need to ask for specific evidence. Ask for their SOC 2 Type 2 report. That's a deep audit of their security controls over time. Ask for their ISO 27001 certification. It's a global standard. And here's a pro tip, a really crucial detail. Make sure the actual product you're buying is included in the scope of that audit. It's a tiny check that makes a world of difference.
Okay, let's move on to Section 3, mapping data and access. This is where we get really practical and start tracking your data. We're going to answer that first core question we talked about. Where does our data go, and who can touch it?
Think of this as a 4-step process. First, you've got to understand every single system the AI is going to plug into. Second, get super clear on their data policies. How long do they keep your data? Is it encrypted everywhere? Third, verify their access controls. Things like single sign-on and multi-factor authentication shouldn't even be a question. They should be standard. And finally, make sure all administrator actions are logged and fully auditable. No exceptions.
All right, on to our 4th section, addressing unique AI risks. We've covered the security fundamentals, which are super important. But let's be real, AI isn't your standard system. It brings a whole new category of risks to the table that your traditional security review might miss completely.
Okay, first up, let's talk about hallucinations. This is basically when the AI just makes things up. Imagine your new AI support bot confidently giving a customer completely wrong information about your own product. This isn't just a technical glitch, it's a direct threat to customer trust and a direct hit to your brand.
And then you've got something called prompt injection. Think of it like tricking the AI. A bad actor can write a special prompt that convinces the model to ignore all of its safety rules, maybe leak sensitive information, or even perform actions it's not supposed to. It's a brand new kind of vulnerability that's unique to these language systems.
So the question for your vendor is this. How are you actually managing these specific AI risks? Can their model be grounded? In other words, can you force it to only use your approved knowledge sources? And what happens when its confidence is low? Does it take a wild guess, or does it know to escalate to a human? These are the kinds of details that separate a robust AI platform from a really risky one.
And that brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most important part of the whole process, validating every single claim. You've asked all the right questions, now you need to make absolutely sure the answers you're getting are real.
This right here,
This is the core mindset shift you absolutely have to make. A simple yes on a security questionnaire is not an answer. It's just the start of a conversation. A yes means absolutely nothing without verifiable proof to back it up.
So this becomes your new rule, your mandate. If a vendor says they have role-based access controls, you say, great, show me a screenshot, or send me the policy document. If they tell you they log all admin actions, you say, perfect, let me see a sample of those logs. Every single answer has to be backed up by evidence. Don't just trust, you have to verify.
Look, at the end of the day, here's what it all comes down to. A real security assessment is an investigation. It's a structured, evidence-based process that's designed to genuinely understand and manage risk, not just to tick a box and say you're compliant.
By focusing on those core questions, demanding that baseline proof, mapping out your data, tackling the AI-specific risks, and then validating every single claim with hard evidence, you move from a place of uncertainty to a place of real confidence. So the question is, how will you apply this framework to make sure your next AI partner is a true asset and not a liability?